How about Rapid Robert Reynolds? For so many years, the voice of the Detroit Lions and WJR sports director, and it's a perfect lead-in from Earl because he talked about Biggie to bring up Bob to talk about Biggie. The Munn family selected Bob Reynolds to induct Biggie, and it's a great match. He broadcast Michigan State football so many years, too. A great friend. Please welcome Bob Reynolds, Rapid Robert.
If everything goes well, we'll make kickoff tomorrow. I brought my pajamas, but I haven't had time to put them on yet. I looked at my watch just before I got here, and Jesus, I'm 3 hours behind bedtime. For me, you know, you get to be 45, you got to go to bed early. 45. 55, 65. Even at 78, you better go to bed early, too. Vera, you know, when this dear lady asked me if I would present Big for induction, I was thrilled and I was honored. Because Biggie was my friend. He really was. We shared a lot of time together, some good times and some bad that weren't so good. Actually, I had a question for Terry when I found out about this. I said, Terry, how the hell do you present a legend in 2 minutes? He said, well, it's easy because everything that he has done is in the program anyway, so that answered that question. But to talk about Biggie for 2 minutes is like, Jesus, I don't know, no way. But I will say that there are a couple of occasions that I remember very fondly. One that I will never forget, of course, it occurred the first time that Big went to the University of Michigan as the football coach at Michigan State. I stood right beside this man in the locker room after the game was over. It was a locker room that you wouldn't have wanted to stand in. You would be damn lucky if you could stand it. It was that bad. But I remember standing side of this man when he made a vow. A vow. I guess it's late. Even the guy isn't paying any attention to me. He made a vow.
Tell him to roll the tape, Bob, then he'll know what you mean.
Huh?
Tell him to roll the tape, then he'll
roll the tape. That's what he's... That's late, that's why.
And I'd gone to Syracuse for 1 year and coached a lot of those young fellas on the Michigan line, and they beat us 55-0. Gee, you don't think I felt terrible? Well, some of the players in Michigan, they'd go by our bench and say, how am I doing? And they'd laugh at me. It was just one of those things. But they mashed us. And I want to tell you that we had the type of young player here at Michigan State, but they got well. They won 7 games that year. And that's unbelievable to come from a mashing like that to win 7 games. We only lost another one by a 7-6 score. So I have memories for all my years of being the head coach here of that first defeat. Many things happened there. I know we had to go down and sit in the sun a half hour before the game because our locker rooms were flooded. Nobody knows about that. And anybody ever said, but people, they never realized that things like this happened, and our locker rooms were flooded. And we had to get out there and get down and sit in the sun. Everybody thought Coach Munn was nuts because he had his players sitting down there, but we had no choice. We had to get out of it. It was just a mess, really a terrible mess. And we took it on the chin. And, you know, the Michigan State song, you know, they got a phrase in there that says, you know, watch the points keep rolling, you know, Spartans
That's right, they never did. The second occasion that I remember very closely was when I stood with Biggie at the Rose Bowl, munching an apple. He turned to me and he said, "Bob, there will come a day." Remember when I said that? And I said, "Yes." Well, he said, "The day has come." And you know, he had a lot of days after that, too. A lot of days for Biggie. I remember the first time that I helped at occasions to recruit for Big. Vera remembers very well, and I'm sure. I called him one day and I said, "How'd you like to have Don Coleman?" He said, "I've got a prayer." You know, I said, "Yes, you have." He said, "How come?" Well, I said, his dad got a hold of me and he said, "Mr. Reynolds, I suppose there's any way you can help get my boy into college?" And I said, "You mean to tell me that Don hasn't been recruited so vigorously? He's not going to college?" He said, "Yeah, no, nobody's been that close." I said, "Well, I'll tell you something. You have him right down here where we're talking now on Saturday morning at 9 o'clock. Do you do that?" "Yes, sir," he said. In the meantime, I called Biggie again, and I said, "You're going to be in the office Saturday morning at 9 o'clock, or right around there. I'm going to have a surprise for you." He says, "I'll be there, Bob." So I took Don Coleman, I put him in the car. He wasn't as big then as he is now, and I was bigger. That's what the years will do. And I took him down, and I brought him up into the office and introduced him to Biggie. I left the two of them alone because I didn't want to know anything more other than that. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is how the greatest tackle in this history of this school came to Michigan State. Biggie Munn brought him here. And I wish that he could see and know what Don has accomplished. And here's a young man who not only was a great football player and All-American, but what he has done as a result of that is such an example for every athlete who comes to this university. You can be a great athlete, and you can be a great student, and you can go as far as you can fly. And Don, one of the proudest moments of my life was when you got your doctorate here at this university. And I'm so proud of you, and I know Biggie is, and all of us who knew you in Flint. Mighty proud of how you've gone and what you have done. I always wish that I had the time to share some of the moments that Big and I shared with you, but like I say, kickoff is 10 minutes. And we better make it because all of you are holding a lot of responsibility to the football team not to spoil this evening by losing 2 in a row to the Chips. I don't see that happening at all. Anyway, just for a moment or two, did you know, I'm sure perhaps some of you didn't, what a great outdoorsman Biggie was, too. He loved to fish and be outside. He was an Eagle Scout, and he earned every one of those medals that he had as a scout. I never saw any of the big fish that he was telling me about that he caught. I guess they ate them. Did you eat them by then? Okay, Vera said they ate them by then. I saw some of the little ones. But to best explain Biggie Munn to those who perhaps didn't know him, he was a great, great communicator. That's Biggie's biggest forte. I never met the world's great communicator. What's his name? It was R.R. Served president, didn't he, for a while? Not of this university, but of the country. Ronald Reagan was supposed to be the great communicator. Couldn't touch Biggie. If Biggie couldn't reach you, nobody could. He was up front all the time. You always knew where you stood with Biggie and what he stood for. His coaches, his players, people in the administration loved and respected this man, and I personally learned a great deal from him. I have a favorite plaque that describes Biggie Munn so well. It goes like this: "That man is a success who has lived well, laughed often, and loved much, who gained the respect of intelligent men and the love of children, and who filled his niche in the world and accomplished his task, who left the world better than he found it, who never lacked appreciation for earth's beauty or failed to express it, who looked for the best in others and who gave the best that he had." That was a giant of a friend that I had, and I am so pleased and so honored to have this opportunity on behalf of Biggie to present his widow and his lifelong companion, the lovely lady that she is, his plaque, Mrs. Vera Munn, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, Bob. You know, it's the first time I've ever talked over one of these things, I think. I do so wish that Biggie could be here to join the charter membership class. I want to congratulate all of them. And as a matter of fact, it is his birthday, Biggie's birthday. So isn't that a dandy present for him? He always did everything he possibly could to enhance this university and bring it fame and glory. And I feel that his dedication has been rewarded by this honor. And so thank you all very much. I also want to thank my beau for the evening, George Gary, who escorted me here. I appreciate it, George. Thank you.
Very nice, Bill.